Okay, now you're here? Yeah? Okay. So hello to everyone. We thought that we would first show you a clip of who we are. So we are right now 13 offices and actually more than 40 architects. So we are quite big already now and also growing in the future. We have now for 3 years organized different kinds of participatory workshops in different cities in Finland. We use a lot of different methods because we are so many. We have always new methods to use for different tasks. Here are just some of the different ways we have worked in these workshops. We use a lot of different maps that also work for the city later on as some kind of an idea guide to use for planning. We also invite the media to all of these workshops and use the attention of the media as a way to create more discussion about these tasks. We thought that we would now give you kind of a hands-on example of how we have used a participatory process as an incubator for fast change. And this case is from Tampere. So the situation in Tampere in 2013 was basically as it is in most cities in Finland. There were a lot of different ideas, a lot of different development projects going on. Also some social problems in different places. And basically what we did in 2013 was to decide on a 6-point focus with the city. We decided on 6 different tasks and we organized a workshop to solve these tasks. We worked together with people from the city, decision makers, all kinds of entrepreneurs. And during these 3 days we had the workshop, we came up with different solutions for these tasks. There was a really nice public discussion later on that went on for even several months. Also a discussion with the people making the decisions in the city. And one of the tasks in the workshop was this pop-up hotel. There was a demand for kind of new accommodation spaces. And one of the entrepreneurs that we had working with us during the workshop, then already 2 months after the workshop, decided on starting to actually do this, starting the kind of design of one of the ideas. We started with market research and with the design process. We did that together with people in that specific neighborhood, with the end users. And already about 4 months after the workshop, we were actually applying for permits, building permits. So it all went very, very quickly. Then after that, we continued with the design process. That was done again together with the construction firms and the builders to find like really easily built and affordable solutions. So actually 1 year after the workshop, the hostel was opening. And all of this was enabled by a very kind of strong sense of co-ownership of that idea. And that kind of sense was used as a force to take that project and those ideas forward. So in the actual workshop, we started with asking for where there are these kind of unused spaces that could be easily taken into new use. And we found quite a lot of different spaces, actually, that could be developed further. We came up with this idea of kind of very simple idea of building these kind of space modules into the larger unused space. And with these modules, the idea was to make them pre-made, maybe even something that could be mass-produced, and to kind of minimize the private space and maximize the common or the shared space. Here's a picture from the workshop still. And the idea, of course, developed when we developed it further with the end users and the entrepreneur. And it became a fixed solution instead of just a temporary solution. But anyway, the idea of sharing space and minimizing the private space stayed the same. Here are some pictures from the ready-made hostel. And what has happened actually with this project or in this neighborhood, there is right now going on, there's a new hotel coming up, there's a theater right now being developed, there's also public saunas and a lot of new restaurants. So this kind of actually like a very small project worked as a domino effect to create these kind of fast-paced new changes in that neighborhood. And we have seen in a lot of these workshops that of course there's a need for the long run analytic city planning approach, but also there's nowadays a very, very big demand of like places where ideas can be tested, just tested quickly, experimented with, and that can work for all the people in that community as a kind of idea testing ground, and that way they feel that they are part of that process.
Okay, thank you, Emma. And as a conclusion, I got 2 minutes and I will use it. So as a conclusion, I would like to kind of point out that the most important thing in participatory design is to hear the voice of the user. It's quite simple. As well as to understand and respect the experience of the user. And that's something that usually we architects are not that good if we don't really focus into that. And we use various methods, and the designer in overall can use various methods which help and encourage the user to speak out and the designer to listen. With every selected method, the problem can be approached in a certain angle, an angle which is defined beforehand when the method is chosen. For that reason, the participatory methods should be carefully aligned to the main goal of the whole construction or planning process. The chosen methods can help both the user as well the client and the architect to stay focused onto the goals. Right now, Uusi Kaupunki kollektiivi is collaborating with other Scandinavian and Baltic offices and architects who are working in the same field of interest. And we organized last year in Tallinn a workshop, and next year, 2017, we are preparing a pilot project in Norway with the local architects. This is my last slide. In Scandinavia, the user-centered design is already quite well implemented into the urban planning and design, at least at some level. We believe, as a group of architects, that by learning and developing the participatory design tools further as a cooperation between other Nordic professionals, there could actually be possible to develop the best city planning process in the whole world. A process that would be both democratic and lead into more human-centered environments. And that vision we call a Scandinavian method, and we welcome all you to join into that vision of developing better processes for Scandinavia.
Thank you.
Thank you.